Hello, everyone. This is the host, Eddie Gagger. And also, I am here with AKA Boy Green, Paul Esden Jr. Paul, welcome to the show.
Ed, it's been too damn long. I don't know what the hell took so long, but I'm glad to be here, man. Exciting, and thank you. What a blossoming product you have here.
Thank you so much. This man right here helped me start this show. So I appreciate the fact that you're on finally. We've been talking about this for months now, and we finally have some time to do this interview.
So yes, absolutely. So I'm proud of you, Ed. So many people talk about wanting a podcast or having a podcast, but they don't take the step of going, obviously, to the distance you have. Obviously, you got the product there with the microphone and everything else. So you're doing a wonderful job, and I love seeing your highlights on Instagram. You're doing killer work, my friend.
Hey, I appreciate it. Okay. This episode we are going to be talking about the Jets. Um, so
All right.
Paul, you're a Jets guy. How you feeling this year?
It's a lot of new, Ed. It was an interesting era the last 2 years, the Aaron Rodgers experience, where you do everything and anything that includes, with getting players that he likes, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, Billy Turner, coaches he likes like Nathaniel Hackett, and the Jets went all in. They tried to win a Super Bowl. They thought they had the roster. All they were missing was the quarterback, and we'll never know if that was or wasn't true because four plays into that game, 4 minutes and 4 seconds, I've been told by the New York Jets is how long it took for Aaron Rodgers' Achilles to explode on the field. So, that was an era. And then last year, it just felt like, it never was what it was supposed to be, in 2023. So that era is gone. Aaron Glenn has arrived. Justin Fields has arrived. So it's when you get a fresh bag of chips and you open it up for the first time and that smell hits your nostrils, the crispiness of a fresh chip as opposed to a bag of chips that have been laying around or what have you. So there is a newness here, and I think that's exciting for a lot of Jet fans.
Do you have a favorite chip that you prefer?
It's a great question. Me and my fiance, Tatiana, have this debate all the time. I'm a kettle chip guy. I like a good crisp, and she calls my kettle chips stale. So she thinks that the chips, even when they're fresh out of the package and crispy, she's like, that tastes gross. And I'm like, I love it. So I am a crispy chip guy. So I like kettle chips. Those tickle the fancy. Specifically, the brand. They have this at a couple of local deli shops. Dirty chips. Now, I'm sure people don't want to eat chips where the brand is Dirty Chips. That probably isn't incredibly enticing, but I will tell you, they got some great flavors, some great combinations. I had that when I was younger, and it's not at every store, but if I find them, they're pretty good. Pretty good chips. Yeah.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Look, you just talked about this man, Aaron Glenn, new head coach. How do you feel about the hire, and what should be his first year's expectation?
Well, there was a lot of concerns. I'm going to be honest when Aaron Glenn was hired because there are two things that he brings to the table that I think scares Jet fans. Number one, he's never been a head coach before, so he's a first-time head coach. That's always concerning because you never know, no matter how good you feel about a guy, and there's a lot of hometown feels. He's a former first-round draft choice in the New York Jets back in 1994, so coming home, that's cool, and he wanted the job, and that's all great, but you never know how someone's going to perform in the role until they're in the role. So a first-time head coach is scary. The Jets have had that predominantly here in the 21st century. The only head coach they've hired that was not a first-time head coach was Adam Gase, and he was awful, who was previously the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. And then number two, if you were going to go with the first-time head coach, Jet fans wanted an offensive guy. Offensive football has been difficult to find for the Jets over the last 15 years. So, if they were going to take a risk and go after a guy, they wanted a young guy with upside, offensively speaking. And Aaron Glenn is a defensive guy. Now, if you tell Aaron Glenn he's a defensive guy, he gets very angry and starts getting all hostile during these media opportunities, saying, I'm not a defensive guy. I'm a coach. I'm a head coach. I'm not offense or defense or special teams. I'm a head coach. So, Aaron Glenn, if you ever tell that to his face, he gets very upset. But if we're being honest, he played cornerback on the defensive side of the football for 15 years in the NFL, and he was a defensive assistant, a defensive coordinator. He's a defensive guy. Now, maybe he's going to prove here that some of the studying he had been doing over the last 10 years here, Ed, studying offensive football, hanging out with offensive masterminds like Todd Haley, and doing extra preparation during the offseason. Maybe that will pay off now that he's in the head coach role. But I'll tell you, there's an excitement here about Aaron Glenn and maybe a bare basic level is he just feels like he knows what he's doing, which may sound very basic and shouldn't any head coach you hire know what he's doing, sure, but in particular there's a discipline here, there's a no nonsense approach. That energy has been infectious to the rest of the team. He's had a very interesting relationship with the media where it seems a little aggressive, and fans are like, huh, I wonder if he's going to have the same energy if things inevitably go sideways at some point for the New York Jets. Like if they're 3-6, like is he going to have the same energy? Is that going to flop? What's going to happen there? So there are some concerns with how Aaron Glenn handles the media from some people. For me, I love it. I think it's refreshing. There's an accountability here, which has been missing from the Jets for some time, Ed.
Yeah, we'll see about Aaron Glenn. Look, I mean, he was absolutely a great coordinator for Detroit. He did a great job with all those injuries.
Sure.
Unfortunately, it was there were too many injuries for Detroit on the defensive side. And obviously, like you just said, the NFL is turning into an offensive league, and does Aaron Glenn know offense? Can he have the Jets offense be one of the best offenses in the league? And that's been a while now. Probably since Rex Ryan days, and that wasn't even pretty.
Yeah, you are right. Offensively speaking, there was one blip year, and you will remember this a little too fondly yet as a Buffalo Bills representative on this show. But in 2015, the New York Jets had one of the most explosive offenses in football. Ryan Fitzpatrick in that year had a 3,900 yards passing, which Bills fans are also familiar with. They had a 1,000-yard rusher with Chris Ivory. They had 2,000-yard receivers. Brandon Marshall had 109 receptions for 1,502 yards and 14 touchdowns. That's the greatest single season a Jets receiver has ever had. And then Eric Decker also had a 1,000-yard year. So there was just a lot of explosiveness with the Jets offense at that point. They could run the football, they could pass the football. Ryan Fitzpatrick delivered one of the best single season performances we've ever seen from a Jets quarterback ever. He finished with 31 passing touchdowns in that year. That's the most passing touchdowns any Jets quarterback has had in a single season ever. So that was a really good year, but again, as you will remember, the Jets were 10-5. All they had to do was beat the Buffalo Bills in the finale of that year, and they would have punched their ticket to the playoffs. Playoffs. But they did not. Ryan Fitzpatrick imploded. He threw 3 picks in the fourth quarter. He hit Kenbrell Tompkins for what could have been the game-winning touchdown, but it hit Kenbrell Tompkins in the hands and went right through him. And ultimately, unfortunately, the Jets lost that game, and their long playoff drought has continued to this day. So, yes, their offense has been mostly horrible the last 15 years, and even dating back to your point to the Rex Ryan days, the goodness came from the running game. Thomas Jones had a marvelous year in 2009. LaDainian Tomlinson had a really good year in 2010. So they were able to run the football effectively, and they had a couple of playmakers like Braylon Edwards, Antonio Holmes, and Jericho Cotchery, and a couple wide receivers that made some noise. Dustin Keller, I'd give a shout out to him as a former first-round tight end. But, I'm sort of stretching here on terms of the great offense. It hasn't been a lot of great. So, yes, that would be refreshing. And the person that inspires that, Ed, is Tanner Engstrand. He's the Jets offensive coordinator, but a first-time play caller at the NFL level. He called it before the XFL level. He called it before at the college football level, but not the NFL. So there's excitement because he comes from the Lions, and the Lions were sexy, throwing the ball all over the place. Jet fans are hoping a little copy and paste action from Detroit to New York.
Are you concerned about that? First time coordinator?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, here's the thing, right? So this is an example of similar excitement, but it led to nothing. Right? Robert Saleh gets hired. We're like, ooh, Robert Saleh. We're all excited. He brings the young hotshot kid, Mike LaFleur, the younger brother of Matt LaFleur. Like, oh, this guy's going to be an innovative offensive mastermind. The other 49ers assistant that Robert Saleh did not choose was Mike McDaniel, who ended up being the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. He picked LaFleur over Mike McDaniel. LaFleur comes in, and he shows some chutzpah, but after a very short, brief period of time, he ends up leaving immediately. The Jets and him mutually part ways, if you were to believe mutually parting of ways actually exist out there in the universe. So Mike LaFleur had no experience, and then he was shoved to be the guy, and there was middling success. Now we go to another guy who's got upside, but we have no idea. So yeah, it's massively concerning to have this guy. This was the most important hire of the entire staff for Aaron Glenn, because again, despite what AG would like to be labeled, he's a defensive guy. So who is the offensive yin to his yang that will inspire Jet fans and the quarterback play to take the next step? So absolutely, there are concerns about that heading into this season. Yes.
Yeah, no, for sure. So here's what I believe.
All right.
Aaron Glenn, defensive guy. I think he will absolutely fix the defense. I think the defense last year quit after Robert Sala's firing. Uh, talking about a guy like Sauce Gardner, it seemed like he didn't have that same energy. He had a down year last year, but he got a new contract worth up to let's see, I got it right here.
Yeah.
$120 million. How do you feel about that signing? I mean, I know, he was drafted in the first round a couple years ago.
Yeah, just a slight correction. It's 120.4 million. You may say, well, what's the difference, Paul? Well,
My
the
bad, my
point
bad.
0.4 million, no, that's okay. I forgive you, Ed. But that point 0.4 million was very important to Sauce Gardner. He wanted that point 0.4 million because that now makes him the highest paid corner in football. Without the point 0.4, he would have simply been tied with Derek Stingley of the Houston Texans. So instead of making 30 million, he's making 30.1 million. So just as a little bit over of Derek Stingley, which again was very important to Sauce Gardner during that process. It's hard, Ed. You say some very harsh things there of like, quit on the team, quit on the team, quit on the team. But I can't disagree because when Robert Saleh gets fired after week 5, which was the London trip against Minnesota, the Jets were once again, your Bills continue to come into our story. The Jets played in week 6. What was on the line in the week 6 game? First place in the AFC East was on the line, and the Jets fired their head coach within that same week. What in the world is going on here? So we go to Sauce Gardner and some of these other guys. They did look lost. They did go like, what the hell is going on here? There's only been one interim coach in NFL history, Ed, that has taken over a team and taken that team to the playoffs. And technically, that coach wasn't fired. He resigned. That was John Gruden, who's going through all his own NFL legal problems with the NFL right now, or perhaps problems for the NFL. So our guy, who is now the Rich Bisaccia, the name escaped me for a second, he took over the Raiders, took them to the playoffs. But outside of him, in a very unique, rare situation, every other interim coach had never taken their team to the playoffs. So I take those statistics to bring it to the current team at last year, and the Jets were like, geez, our season's over. So a lot of people did quit. And the thing that came into question, perhaps the most for Sauce Gardner, was his inability to tackle Ed Gallagher. He had questionable tackling technique. Effort was in question. He also doesn't catch a lot of interceptions, so that came into play with the lack of ball play and the tackling issues. And Jet fans started to say, should we even pay this guy? Like, should the Jets go all in to make him one of the pillars? And I'm glad they did because Sauce Gardner, as a 4th overall pick, is a 2-time first team All Pro. How many corners have been a first team All Pro in their first 2 years? Rhetorical question, Ed Gallagher. He's the only one since the 1970 NFL merger. So, in other words, pretty good. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. There are issues, and we're hoping the unique thing about Aaron Glenn being the head coach is he used to play corner very well, as a matter of fact. He played the corner at the NFL level for 15 years, and he spent half of those seasons with the New York Jets. He's a former All-Pro corner, so he should be able to take Sauce Gardner under his wing and teach him all kinds of things about playing the position. Sauce Gardner was built on a lab table. He's got the height, he's got the weight, he's got the speed. Aaron Glenn was a short guy. He's like 5'9", 5'10". He had to do the cornerback position a lot differently than Sauce Gardner did, and I think there's a lot of things he could teach Sauce Gardner. So people are expecting massive things from Sauce Gardner here in 2025, and I think it starts with two key things. Tackling, and we saw some improved tackling so far in the preseason from Sauce. He didn't play a lot, but we did see some of that. And number 2, catching the gosh darn football when it comes your way, Sauce Gardner, in your general vicinity. So that's going to be 2 biggies for old Saucy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, look, I'm glad he signed that contract. I think he has all the tools, 6'4", that wingspan of his. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he does this year. Another guy that you signed on the offensive side, Garrett Wilson, he signed a 130 million contract, which I believe that's well deserved. But what do you make of it? I mean, do you think that was a good signing? And by the way, I think the past 3 seasons, over 1,000 yards without a quarterback, in my
That is
opinion.
true. No, your opinion is correct, Ed, on this particular topic. Yeah, across Garrett Wilson's first 3 seasons, he's entering year number 4 in his NFL career. He's had 80 plus catches and over 1,000 yards in each of those seasons. He is the fifth player in NFL history to accomplish that feat. The other names on the list are Michael Thomas, Odell Beckham Jr., Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Garrett Wilson. That's a pretty elite list. And it shows a high floor for Garrett Wilson across his career. The question now is, can Garrett Wilson take his game from here to here and take it to the next level? That contract you just talked about is a 32.5 million per year average in new money, which means right now, in this moment in time, as we're doing this interview, he is the fifth highest paid wide receiver in football. And you're like, whoa, top five? That's pretty aggressive. Garrett Wilson has not put up top five numbers yet. Those numbers I said are very interesting. 80 plus catches and over 1,000 yards. That's good. As a matter of fact, that's some of the best in Jets history. Garrett Wilson is the most productive Jets receiver through his first 3 seasons than any other receiver in team history. And we have Hall of Famers at wide receiver on this team in their history. So it's very impressive. But can Garrett Wilson take it to the next level? What do I mean by that? The most receiving yards Garrett Wilson has ever had during a single season is 1,100. So can he reach another level from that perspective? He's gotten over the 100 catch plateau once in his career. Can he do that again more consistently? What about touchdowns? Can he approach double digit? Can he get in that category? Through his first 3 years, he has 14 total touchdowns. His first 2 years, 7 touchdowns combined. Last year, he had 7 touchdowns, so the numbers jumped significantly. But what about 1,200 yards, 1,300 yards, 1,400 yards, 1,500 yards? Can he get to that sort of stratosphere? Because that's where Justin Jefferson is. That's where Jamar Chase is. Can he get to that level? I think that's a big question. And the natural question, and I'm sure you're going to ask about this guy, is Justin Fields. Can he hit the broadside of a barn? If he falls out of a boat, will he hit water? That people question the accuracy of one Justin Fields. But I will say this in defense of that before we even get there. Justin Fields supported wide receiver one play. How do I know that? Let's go to his final season with the Chicago Bears. DJ Moore put up 1,300 receiving yards. Who was his quarterback? Checks notes. Justin Fields. So Justin Fields has proven that even when DJ Moore was the number one weapon on Chicago's offense, and Justin Fields, who has had accuracy issues, found a way to get him the ball consistently. So I have no doubts that with this staff and this team, they'll be able to get Garrett Wilson the football in a very similar manner.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I know Garrett Wilson hasn't had a quarterback. I mean, not Justin Jefferson, also hasn't had a long-term quarterback. For the
Yeah,
Vikings, Kirk Cousins, uh,
right.
Sam Darnold, and now JJ McCarthy. So,
Sure.
yeah, you got to put up those stats if you're Garrett Wilson. Uh, but let's get to Justin Fields. New quarterback. Uh, what is your expectation of him? Because we know a lot of mock drafts have him have the Jets selecting another quarterback. Do you think Fields could be not just a quarterback now, but also for the future?
What a question, Ed Gallagher. What a question. And of course, it's
Thank
your
you.
show for Pete's sake. How would you not have these great questions? There's a lot of fantasy team names with Justin Fields. Dr. Fields good. Fields of Dreams, perhaps. And there's a Fields of Dreams for some Jets people in that building, Ed Gallagher, that believe that perhaps the Jets can be the destination to unlock the former Ohio State product and make him a franchise quarterback. Now, what are the chances of that happening? Probably low, if we're being honest. That this is his third team in 3 years for Pete's sake. If the Steelers couldn't get it out of him, if the Bears couldn't get it out of him, why do the arrogant Jets believe? We've cracked the code. We will get the best version of Justin Fields. Remains to be seen. I believe that's what the kids call TBD. Ed Gallagher, to be determined. We'll see if in fact Justin Fields can be the guy. Am I optimistic about it? Yes. Why? Because I believe this is the best situation Justin Fields has ever been put in, which I understand could be an oxymoron for people going, the Jets? Best situation for a quarterback? That math don't math, but let me explain. This is the best offensive line he's played with. Garrett Wilson is the best receiver he's played with. Brees Hall's the best running back he's played with. And throw Braylon Allen into the mix, who's a dynamic running back as well. This coaching staff of belief, whether you believe it, Ed, or any of your viewers on this show, they in the building believe that Justin Fields is the guy. Now, again, we will see if he proves to be the guy to the rest of the National Football League, but the Jets believe he is. And they're going all in. There is a long leash on Justin Fields. Tyrod Taylor is an emergency braid the glass backup, which Bills fans are also familiar with. Bills just keep coming up on this show. All right. Tyrod Taylor is only going to come in for injury. I don't care if Justin Fields is terrible for 8 weeks in a row. The Jets are riding the Justin Fields train for better or for worse. To playoffs or the number one pick. They are riding Justin Fields. So he has a belief from this coaching staff. He has a belief from his teammates. And there is a belief that he can be the guy. Can he? He will be able to prove that this season. But there's a lot to like because he is the most dynamic rushing quarterback the Jets have ever had in their history. The last quarterback to put up any sorts of rushing numbers was Al Duro in 1960 for the New York Titans. He had about 450 yards rushing. Justin Fields in his career has a season with over 1,100 yards rushing, which is nearly triple the production of one Al Duro. I don't know if you had that in your bingo card at Gallagher, me having an Al Duro New York Titans reference when they weren't even the Jets in the year 1960, over 60 years ago, but boom, I just make things happen.
Yeah, look, this is the NFL. We don't know, you know. So look, I hope Justin Fields works. I doubt it, but he does. I feel like he has weapons around him, so I don't want any
Mm-hmm.
excuses. I mean, look, I don't think
Sure.
Pittsburgh had enough last year. Obviously, he got benched after 4 games, but you know this. Pittsburgh does not know offense, and we'll get to Pittsburgh later in the show. But look, Garrett, you said Garrett Wilson's great wide receiver. Got Brees Hall, prove a year. He needs that contract, and like you said, you got
Yeah.
that running back Allen. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. TBD. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, do you think Brees Hall will get a long term contract, or is that to be determined? Yeah.
Yes, he will get a long term contract. But from the Jets? I'm not so sure. One of the other teams? Maybe. Brees Hall is talented. He's really good. And again, because Bills fans keep coming up on this show, Bills fans, when the Jets landed Brees Hall for trading up, Bills fans were so angry. I received so many messages. Ah, damn it. We wanted that guy. We wanted that guy. We wanted that guy. Bills fans ended up opting and pivoting to James Cook, who's been pretty good for you guys. You just got, speaking of long term deals, you guys just gave him a long term deal for old James Cook. But Bills fans were so angry. They wanted Brees Hall so bad. And he ends up on the Jets. And he's had so many home run plays, which have been exciting. All of them flood to my memory. An 83-yarder against the Buffalo Bills in a 2023 game where some bet may have been on the line, but it's hard for me to remember what that could have been. Perhaps more on that later. Brees Hall, the 75-yarder against the Denver Broncos during his rookie season in Week 7. That was spectacular. The 45-yarder against the Washington Commanders. He's just had so many explosive play after explosive play after explosive play, but he just hasn't been able to put it together consistently. He's never had 1,000 yard rushing season in his entire career. Now, 2 years ago, not last year, 2 years ago, he had the third most scrimmage yards in the National Football League, only behind Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill. So that is both receiving and rushing, where he put all the pieces together. So he's a prominent receiving back. Running the football from a pure running perspective, he has not shown to do consistently. So can he do it this year? We'll see. This Jets team, let's just make it very clear, Ed. The identity is to run the football down the opponent's throat. And that's what the Jets are going to attempt to do. We will see if they will have success in their efforts to do that. So I think Brees Hall gets a long term deal, but I'm going to be honest. If a gun was to my head, I think it's from another team. I do not believe he is going to be on the New York Jets in 2026. Now, the only exception to that is this. If Brees Hall has a wild season this year, let's say I'm totally making these numbers up. He's never run for 1,000 yards, so keep that in mind. But let's say he runs for like 1,300 yards, has 10 touchdowns. It looks awesome. The Jets at that point will franchise tag him and keep him for 2026 and then probably let him go a year from that. But if he stinks or can't stay healthy, then sayonara, don't let the door hit you with the good Lord split you. You're playing for someone else in 2026.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely approve it here. Okay. Uh, I'm so excited for this topic. So the
Okay.
Jets are facing your old quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Uh,
Yep.
week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I bet you're totally excited for that one. But my first question and this is a long-term question about your old
Okay.
quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Do you
Good.
think he will do well in Pittsburgh?
You cut out a little bit there. Can you repeat that, Ed, for me?
Do you think Aaron Rodgers will be a good quarterback in Pittsburgh?
I do not, if I'm being honest. I
Thank
believe
you.
the
Thank
Steelers are going to
you.
have their first sub. I believe the Steelers will have their first sub 500 season in Mike Tomlin's career with him at quarterback. I believe Aaron Rodgers, for the most part, is washed. You're going to see, and I didn't want to accept this, so I had Ty Dunn. He does his own thing now for Go Long, his own subscription service where he does great journalism and it's exciting. But he gave me a bitter pill I didn't want to accept. Last year, before the season, he joined me on my podcast and said, Aaron Rodgers is going to show you glimpses of Aaron Rodgers and you're going to see it and you're going to think you believe it. Like, wow, look at that throw. Look at that game. Look at that moment. Aaron Rodgers is right there. There's the MVP. And then you're going to see a lot of where he's not that guy. And he says, you're going to be fooled. It was like the ghost of Christmas past. He went, Boy Green, I've come to haunt you and tell you that this is what you're going to see. And I didn't want to listen. I'm like, no, 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 no. Aaron Rodgers is going to be fine. It's going to all work out. And guess what? Well, that ghost from Christmas yesteryear was right. We saw flashes. I was at one of those flashes, which made it even more difficult to deny. In week 3, I went to the Jets Patriots game in 2024, Thursday night football game. The Jets are coming off a 1-1 start. They get blown out against the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football week 1. Week 2, they hit the road. They play the Tennessee Titans in a much closer game than it should have been, and they barely squeak by. Then week 3, Jets Patriots. People are feeling a little iffy. Oh boy, this Jets team doesn't look anywhere as good as they were supposed to, and the Patriots come into the Jets house on Thursday Night Football. I host a tailgate. I'm with like 25 Jet fans, and we all watch a game. And Aaron Rodgers looks spectacular. He's moving on the move, and the Jets blow out the Patriots 24-3. And we're like, Super Bowl, baby! Woo! Jets, Jet, Jet, Jet. And I'm like, Aaron Rodgers is back, baby! A-Rod! MVP! And then we never saw it again. Ed. We never saw it again the rest of the year. Just spurts. Again, the week 18 finale against the Dolphins where he threw 4 touchdown passes. Sure, there were moments, but never that week 3 magic ever again. So I take all that long diatribe, that long wind up to say, no, I do not. I am rooting for Aaron outside of week 1, of course. I want the Jets to annihilate Aaron Rodgers and turn him into dust. But beyond that, I've got no ill will. It's not his fault his Achilles exploded. I've got several Aaron Rodgers jerseys in the closet. I remember fondly finding out live on a show that Aaron Rodgers intended to play for the New York Jets, and I remember me going goo goo gaga over it. And it's a memory I'll have forever. I wish it ended better. It did not. So I will be rooting for him outside of week 1 for sure. But no, I don't think he's going to be good. I think there's going to be, for a guy that didn't play in the preseason, a guy that showed up at mandatory minicamp, which was in the middle of June, for those who don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of rust from Aaron Rodgers. And I think it's going to take a while. And then maybe in the middle of the season, you start to see pops. But to me, I think that's going to be too late. There's going to be fights with offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. I just think the Steelers got desperate and they had nowhere else to turn. They wanted Justin Fields. He rejected them and picked the Jets, and then they settled on Aaron Rodgers. And I think they're going to have a miserable season, if I'm being honest, of what I really think. And I think that starts week 1 against the Jets.
Yeah, look, for me, I don't think the Jets fans should be appreciative. Like, I don't think they should give him a like standing ovation because number one, hasn't been there for a while. You know, he only lasted 2 years. Number two, a lot of drama in the building. Uh, he blamed receivers. There's a theory that he got Robert Saleh fired. So I think there is a lot of hatred towards Aaron Rodgers from the Jets. And he has hatred probably towards Aaron Glenn as well. So that's going to be interesting to see. But at the same time, I think
Before
Aaron
we go
Rodgers.
on, I just wanted to say this that you say, like, hey, we shouldn't cheer him or anything. Let me make this perfectly clear, Ed Gallagher. If I was at the game, I won't be at the week 1 game. I'll be at the week 5 game, but I won't be at the week 1 game. But if I was, I would vociferously boo Aaron Rodgers. I would get out of my seat and boo that man and call him every name in the book because, again, we're Jet fans, and I don't care who's coming the other side. When you're on our team, you're our best friend, and we defend you for life. You're on the other side, you're our mortal enemy, and I hope you get hit by a meteor. So that is it, plain and simple. Jet fans should absolutely boo this man out of the building week 1, and hopefully that's not even a question.
By the way, Boy Green, we will be talking about this later,
Okay,
coming up soon, but Jets
sure.
are plus 2.5, versus Pittsburgh. Now, Mike Tomlin is not great when he's a favorite. Just letting you know.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay.
Just
I
letting you
like
know.
that. And Ed, I trust your insights on picks against the spread because I heard that's sort of your thing. You sort of have a thing for picking those kinds of games, I've heard.
Absolutely, absolutely. But uh, give me your final prediction for the Jets. Our friend Jacob Bradley doesn't think that the Jets are going to be good at all this year. Uh,
What was his record prediction?
he didn't give a record prediction, but he said really bad.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
so so
Okay. Well,
uh,
he doesn't know what he's talking about, so, you know,
so do you have a prediction for the Jets? And
Super
and be
Bowl.
and be honest, be honest.
I'm always honest, Ed. That's my blessing and my curse. That all I can speak is the truth, and by God, the truth shall set me free. The Jets are winning the Super Bowl this year, Ed. That's it. Plain and simple. They're winning the AFC East for the first time since 2002. They're winning the Super Bowl. Justin Fields is going to be the MVP. They're going to just do it all, baby. I believe in the Jets, and they're going to do it. They're just going to do it. This team is terrific. It's got the right vibe. I believe it. Yes. All in.
If the Jets do make the playoffs, that is great for football. It just is.
I I'm glad that you can admit that as a Buffalo Bills fan, and I think it's true. Whether it's the Jets or Giants for that matter, but specifically because I'm a Jets guy, when the Jets or Giants are in the playoffs, or even just in the conversation, because neither team has even been in the conversation in a while, it's better for football that those markets have very passionate fans. And I can speak to it specifically for Jets people that we're incredibly passionate, we're incredibly invested, and we're all in. And I think that would be good for football. They have not been to the playoffs since 2010. And again, your Bills continue to come into the conversation. I mentioned that throughout the show. You guys are enjoying the fruits of your labor. You have the reigning MVP and Josh Allen. That's pretty cool at quarterback. But you guys, before the Josh Allen era, I was about to say enjoyed. Enjoyed would not be the word I would use. You experienced a 17-year playoff drought. 17 years with no playoffs. That's a long freaking time. The Jets are currently in the middle of 14 years without the playoffs. I'd prefer not to break your record. You guys can keep it. I don't need 17 years, thank you very much. But you can understand the same sort of struggles we've been through on this train. And I think the Jets are going to make the playoffs this year. And I think they have a really good opportunity to do so. There are 32 teams in the NFL. Time for some math, kiddos. 32 teams in the NFL, 16 per conference, 7 per 16 make the playoffs. That's about 42%. So the Jets, and with the roster and playoff turnover on a year-to-year basis, the numbers say that new teams enter the playoffs every year. So hello, everybody. I'm the New York Jets. Booyah! And punch them right in the mouth. That's what the Jets are going to have to do this season.
Absolutely. So this is our last topic. Paul, I want you to
Okay.
break the news. So what was it, May, that me, you, and your host, the man child, Lurch, uh, you want to break it or do you want me to break it?
Oh, sure, please take the
No, no,
take the
no,
floor.
you break it. You break it. This is my show. I just want to hear it out loud.
Okay. That you will be joining us for our NFL pick segment because when you were crowned the champion in a previous year, you were not invited to return, which you took as an insult to yourself and the entire Gallagher family that have been around for many generations. And now you finally get your rightful place in the proverbial NFL picks octagon. So you'll be joining us this week live on our video show, the Man Show with Boy Green Digital, and you'll be making your picks against the spread. And for folks who don't know, we pick all the games against the spread. So it's not just who wins Jets or Bills. It's, well, who wins again, we'll use the Jets Steelers example. I'm sure you'll ask me that before I go. Jets are a 2.5 point underdog at home to the Steelers, which means for if I pick the Jets, they don't have to win the game. They could, but all they have to do is cover quote unquote 2.5 points. So if the Jets lost 20-18 to the Steelers and that line holds through our predictions, and the Jets lost 2018, I would win if I picked the Jets because they didn't win, but they covered the 2.5 points. So for folks who don't understand the points against spread, so yes, Ed, you will be returning to the octagon in your rightful place. And apparently the pressure's on. I believe this is the details. If I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me, Ed, that you have to win the entire enchilada, which you did before, but against all of our people that are competing in this year's NFL picks against spread. If you win, I believe you stay in our picks moving forward. If you lose, you get tossed out of the building. I believe that's it. Correct, Ed?
Honestly, me and Jim never discussed the stakes, but that's probably
Oh,
what it
okay.
is. That's probably what it is.
Okay,
And
great.
but you know what? I appreciate that I'm returning.
Yeah,
I was very, very upset that I didn't return because I
makes
won.
sense.
What was it in
Yeah.
2023, right? Uh, or was it?
Yeah, that's the right. It was 2023 for sure
Yeah,
because
yeah.
again,
I
our bet
won.
was Jets
I
winning.
won. But didn't Jim come in last?
He might have. That's very
Yeah.
possible.
So I think he was jealous. I think he was like, "Wow, this guy Ed Gallagher, he's really good at this. I can't beat him." So you guys kicked me out. I was a little
Eh.
upset, but it's okay. I'm glad that I'm back. No hard
And
feelings.
I do want to make this clear to Ed deserves his flowers here. We've been doing our radio show, which is now a digital show on YouTube, but we've been doing the radio show for basically 25 years. So that's a lot of interns over 25 years. I've been with the show for 10 plus years. That includes internship, producer, and all these other things. And I've been the internship coordinator for 8 of those 10 years, something like that, where I get to have hand to hand combat on one-on-one training with the interns. And an intern in our history had never won the NFL pick segment. They had usually performed very poorly and were constantly made fun of on the show. Ed, you are the first and only intern in our show's history that ever won the NFL picks against the spread segment. So you deserve many kudos. And now you're defending your crown, trying to become the first ever intern two-time champ. And while I will be cheering for you and also rooting against you because I'd love to win that crown myself, I will certainly be rooting for you as long as it doesn't affect me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't wait. Paul, I know you love football. I know I love football. It's here, baby. Couple more days until Eagles Dallas tips kicks off. I'm so excited for this season. Thank you for coming on the show. You were delightful to have, and I hope you could come back soon.
I would love to come back, and I will end with a Jets Steelers prediction. We have that week one. I believe the Jets win that game. It's probably going to be ugly with a lot of field goals, with Aaron Rodgers' struggles and season openers over the last couple of years, and the Jets offense. We have no idea what it's going to be. I have the Jets winning this ball game 19-15 over the Pittsburgh Steelers, with some last-second field goals being involved to alter around some of the points there. But I do have the Jets beating the Pittsburgh Steelers at home and sending Aaron Rodgers on his happy merry way back to Pittsburgh.
We'll see. Absolutely, Paul. Thank you so much. Uh, this is ending. I hope you enjoyed the show. See you next time.